All right, so now that we have a ride event repository that passes all of our tests, and we already have a ride repository as well, we're going to try to create a ride service. So let's think through it with a test. So it's going to be a ride service test. Okay. Extends app test case. Sure. So what do we want to do with the ride service? If we look back at this graph here, we want to be able to create a ride and transition it through the different parts of its life cycle. So I could say, yeah, just do test create ride. So I do have access to a ride repository. Okay. So I'm going to create a new ride service, and it's going to need a ride repository and a ride event repository, which ride event repository test. Okay, I'm going to move this into parent setup method. It's going to be protected. Protected. Okay. Oops. Yeah. Let me just make sure my tests still pass. Okay, that's good. So ride repository, and I'm going to pass the ride event repository. Let's see, what else would it need? I don't know yet. Let's just do this for now. So I want to be able to say new ride equals this ride service new ride. And if you remember, what does a ride need to exist? It needs a passenger. Well, I did have. What did get save ride do? does all that. It does create the departure. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to do something similar here to what I did in that test. I'm going to pass it. So I'm going to say passenger equals this user service, make user passenger. So at least they are in the correct role. And should be enough. And then this method, you know what? I'm going to call this get home location. I'm going to refactor this into get home, get saved home location. Yeah. So I'm going to say departure equals this, get saved home location. Okay. So I'm going to ask of my ride service to create a new ride with my passenger and my departure. Okay. And I should just be able to say that the new ride that was returned, I could do a assert instance of ride class for new ride. I could also say that I kind of want to just verify the ride's passenger. Well, for now, let's just do assert greater than 0 new ride get ID. Okay. All right, so this test is going to fail because a bunch of things don't exist just yet. We're going to fix that. So let's make our ride service inside of source service directory, open. Okay, yes. Jeez. Okay, so import class, port. Okay, and then I'm going to initialize those fields. Sure, that's good. Okay. So now at least I can create a ride service. Okay, so now I'm going to say new ride. So it's going to be an app user. Oops. And then it's going to be an application import. All right. So from here I should be able to say this right. Okay, so new ride equals new ride, to which I'm going to pass the passenger and the departure. Then I'm going to call say this ride repository, save my new ride, and I can pretty much just return it. So yeah, I think this should pass. Ride service not found because I don't have the proper namespace. It helps when things have the proper namespace. Okay. Yes, import. There you go. Let's try again. Ew, call to identify function a circuit. Oh my gosh. Yep. All right. So we're going to expand on all this for now, a little bit later, but for now that's okay for this test. All right, so now that we can create a ride, there are some business rules that we need to enforce. For one, the user of the ride must be a passenger. The ride must not have already been requested. This one is, I'm not sure how this condition would happen, but I kind of want to keep it in mind. So for now, I'm going to say test ride user not passenger throws rule exception. So let's say I try to create a ride, but I passed it somebody who has a driver role, but who has not been registered as a passenger. We kind of don't want that, right? So I'm gonna and move this here. So not a user, let's say not passenger user equals this, get saved user. I can assert false that this user service is passenger, just to verify that. So I'm gonna have this? Save home location. That's fine. So I'm going to say this expect exception user not passenger exception class. So I will expect this exception if I try to create a ride service, new ride based on a not a passenger and my departure. Okay. So this test will fail because all this exception doesn't exist. So let's make it exist. Create a class. Source directory exception. All right. Yes. All right. So now I should complain that the exception was not thrown. Yep, that's good. So with our new ride, we're going to say that's interesting because our ride service is probably going to be in need of a. Oh no, that's right. I can do it with my from the entity. So if not passenger has role of app role passenger, throw new user not passenger exception. Yeah, it's got to extend exception. Extends. Okay. So, yeah, I'm really glad that I implemented this method on the user object. Okay. Oh, namespace. Derp. Boom. Exception. All right. Let's try this again. All right. All right, cool. Okay, so now that we can create a ride, we can verify that the passenger is a passenger, otherwise start throw an exception. The first thing that we got to do now is set the ride status as requested. So actually create a ride event of type requested. So I'm going to say test new ride is requested. So I could just say get saved new ride with passenger and destination. So I should be able to say that assert true this write event repository the new ride is so yeah, from the write event repository, I can get the last event for the new ride. It's gonna be a bit nasty, but last event equals this last event for ride. I said the new ride. And then it's like last event is write event type requested. I kind of don't like this. First, I feel like I should make I should create the ability for the ride service to get the ride status, basically. Because I don't like doing this. So I'm going to say test get ride status. So I'm going to say ride status equal this ride service get ride status, to which I pass it my new ride. It's a chicken and egg problem. Basically, I want to say yeah, I want to say assert true ride status equals I'm going to say ride event type requested equals ride status. That's kind of what I want to do. Let's say it is requested when new. So that'll probably satisfy both conditions with this one test. So I'm going to add this method here. Right. And then return this ride event repository. Get last event for ride. Ride. So last event, get status. Return this type. Yep. So this should pass. Right. That's because when I'm making my new ride, so the first thing I need to do when I make my new ride is to make my ride as requested. So uh, on my ride event, I didn't have a way to. Oh yeah, my ride event repository test. I never implemented the ability to make a. Right. Um, so right now, the only way I'm marking an event as a given state is by creating this new write event in its instance and setting the requested type. Um, but I should have a dedicated, so I should be able to make test mark ride as status. So let's say status equals write event type requested. And let's say the actor is my save rides passenger. That's fine. I should be able to say this ride event repository mark ride as I'm going to say mark ride status by actor. It's a bit of a handful, but status actor. should be able to say last event. You know what? No, I need to. So I need to match what I'm doing here pretty much. So actor status, and this save ride. Okay. Yeah. This save ride. I should be able to say assert true. Last event for ride is ride event type requested. So ride app user actor, and then so ride event type status. So new event equals new ride event, to which I'm going to pass the ride, the actor, and the status. And then I can just save my event. Okay. So now I can just replace this line here with this mark ride stat. No, this ride repository ride event, to which I'm going to pass these guys here. Oop. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this. Okay, so now things are a bit cleaner. Yeah. Return. You know what? It would be nice to just return new event. So I can just say okay. All right. So let's get back to our new ride guy. So now a test should still fail for the same reason. Oop. No, I did mess with things here. Ride event type that was not configured. Cascade. Yeah, so write event type, yes. Because I need to get it by reference. So the status here, so it's this entity manager get reference. So get reference ride event type class. Okay. What's it complain about? Okay, so oh yeah. Let's just do this. It'll be cleaner. Okay. And then just type the variable status to write event type. Okay. All right. So now, okay. So we're back to our original error, which is good. Because now I can go back to my new ride method here and I can just say this RideEventRepository mark ride by actor. So the first argument is going to be my ride. Okay. New ride. Next argument is the actor. So the actor is going to be the new ride's passenger. Yeah. And status. So write event type requested. And so now things should be happy. Yep. Okay, it was a bit of a handful, but we got through it. So now we verified that we can get, when the new ride has been created, its status is in requested. That's good. All right, so now we can create a new ride and mark it as requested. We want to be able to accept a ride. So test accept ride by prospective driver. So we'll want to verify that the user is a driver, has a driver role. We want to verify that the ride is in requested status. Yeah. I want to mark the ride as accepted. So for now, though, we'll just accept the ride. Yeah. So I'm going to get my new ride. I'm going to say user service accept ride, and I'm going to pass my new ride. And then for now, I'm only going to test that so once I accept ride, I want to get my ride status equal this user service ride service get ride status. And I just want to say that assert true that my just do ride event type requested equals ride status. Okay, so this test is going to fail because the method doesn't exist, so let's make it exist. Okay, so I'm going to pass the ride. Ooh, wait, no. Yes. What am I doing? It's ride service except ride. Yes. Sorry, it's late. I'm getting loopy. So, ride service except ride. Okay. And all I'm going to do for now is oh, yeah, I do need an actor. I do need a prospective driver. So, this get saved user this? User service. Make user driver. Okay. Right. Driver. App user. Driver. So I'm going to call assign driver to ride. Pass the ride and the driver. And then I need to set an event for it. So this RideEventRepository, mark ride status as by actor. So I'm going to pass the ride. Pass the driver. And I'm going to pass ride event status. Ride event type. Accepted. So if I accept a ride, it should be not requested, it should be accepted. Duh. And also, like assert same driver get last name of I'm going to say accepted ride equals I mean, let's do that. Should pass. No. Phew. Oh, yeah. How about that? could do this. It's a bit redundant, but this guarantees that I retrieve the ride. You know what? No, that should be fine. Okay. All right. Test pass. All right. So the next thing we want to do is test accepting non-requested ride throws exception. So the only time you should be able to accept a ride if that ride is currently in requested mode and no other status. So I'm gonna get a new ride with a driver. I'm going to accept the ride. So that ride is not even, so that ride is not in requested mode because I just accepted it. So it's been accepted. So now if I go like I'm gonna call this the winning driver, and I'm gonna create a losing driver equals this get save user with name losing driver, and I'm also going to make it this user service make user driver losing driver. Okay, so the winning driver has accepted the ride, so from here on I should be able to expect an exception of ride lifecycle exception class. If I try to, I don't even need to send a variable here. If the losing driver tries to accept the ride, so this test is going to fail because this class does not exist. Okay. So I'm going to say a bundle exception. Okay. I'm going to import it. So now it should complain that the exception is not thrown. All right. So now I'm going to go in my little accept ride method, and I'm going to say if this get ride status of ride equals ride event type requested. If it's not requested, basically. If the status of this ride is not requested, then I'm going to throw new ride lifecycle exception. That's it. Really? Huh. Okay, so this doesn't work, but if I flip it, if not, ride event type requested equals this get ride status of the ride, then throw the exception. Okay. Here we go. Now the test pass. Okay. All right, so the next thing I want to verify is that only a driver can accept a ride. So test accepting ride by non-driver throws user not driver exception. So I'm gonna have a new ride. Then I'm gonna say attempting driver equals this get saved user. Okay. So then I'm gonna say this user service make user passenger. Attempting driver. So it's a passenger basically pretending to be a driver. Then I'm going to say this expect exception of user not driver exception class if this ride service, accept ride of the new ride, by the attempting driver. Okay, so for now this test is going to fail because that class does not exist. All right. Um, that's weird. Okay, so source. So that's app bundle exception. Extends exception. Okay. Import. All right, so I'm still not throwing that exception. Okay. So in my ride service, I'm going to say if not driver has role of app role driver, throw new user not driver exception. Yeah. Okay. All right. Running my tests, and they pass. Let me do some refactoring. So I'm going to put this into validate user is driver. Validate user no, validate ride is requested. Okay. All right. So I accept a ride, I validate a couple things, then I perform my business logic. Okay, do my test will pass. Yup.